Hi, I'm Kathy Kuhn. I'm the VP Finance for Avery Products North America. I started out working for my dad doing taxes, and he had a side business. So I decided to major in finance and accounting, and from there went to Arthur Andersen in tax for about 4 years and transitioned over to private industry, coming to Avery, and worked in the tax department for about 10 years, working my way up to tax director. From there, I decided to branch out, get my MBA, broaden my horizons, and I came out to one of the divisions of Avery, which is the Office Products Division, to be the controller. Continued working for the Office Products Division as a global controller, and then ultimately as the Vice President of Finance, working on all of the financial planning, analysis, controls, financial reporting, and broad responsibilities, and more recently on mergers and acquisitions of some of our acquisitions we've made under our new owner, CCL. Some of the challenges that I've had throughout my career, number one being the youngest tax director and the first female tax director in the company. It's more around people taking you seriously sometimes, that you have to be very, very professional, and you feel like maybe you're overcompensating sometimes, but to be taken seriously, you have to have that persona of professionalism. One of the main things that I always kept in the back of my mind was do your homework, be prepared, know what you're talking about. It's really important in a technical field that in order to be taken seriously, that you have the knowledge of what you're talking about. I think everybody entering the workforce, especially in finance, is about equal men-women, but as you progress through your career, you find that there are fewer women at the top. And why is that? There are different career discussions that might happen between male and women. Traditionally, the male discussion is, how can we get you experience to grow in your career and move up and broaden your experiences so that you can own a P&L one day and become a leader. The discussion with women historically has been, you're doing a great job in your role, keep doing it because you're so important to the organization. And that next level of how do you move up, how do you grow, might not happen in that conversation with women. But that's the old norm, and that's kind of the traditional. And so obviously there are pockets of where that's not going to be the case, but I think it's up to all of us to make sure that's not the case and to really guide equally that leadership discussion. As an organization, we need to be flexible and realize that still today, more than half the burden of raising the kids is on the mother. It's the mom that needs time off to go to the school plays and go to the awards ceremonies and take care of the 6 kids. And we need to provide that flexibility, whether it's working flex time, where you come in earlier and leave earlier, which I was allowed to do very early in my career. I had a very progressive VP of taxes that he allowed me to work 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And that allowed me to bring my kids to daycare, pick them up, and still make it to t-ball, karate, and dance in the afternoons when their activities were taking place. It also allowed me to get my MBA in the evening. So just being flexible with people coming up through the ranks so that they can stay in the workforce, they can continue their careers, and it's not looked upon in a negative way at all. How an organization can help cultivate more female leaders is through encouragement, through example, so mentoring others that are coming up through the ranks. Advice to someone entering the finance world is stick with it, but don't be so myopic in your view of where your career is going to go. Learn other disciplines, learn other areas, learn the business you're in, learn the industry you're in. Make it as broad as possible, because finance in a lot of companies can be very narrowing and very limiting in what you're doing. But in order to be a better asset to that company, you need to understand the other disciplines. You need to understand marketing. You need to understand the R&D a little bit, not the techie parts, because I will never understand that, but in order to be useful in the organization, you've got to understand the organization. You broaden each time you learn, and you're gathering more information about other parts of the organization, other disciplines, about the industry. It makes you more valuable as an employee, as a leader. One way that you get your foot in the door with finance is you're doing their budget. So what better way to understand other departments than to sit down with them and go through the budget and understand what are their needs throughout the year, what projects do they have going on throughout the year that need funding. And that helps you put yourself in their place just a little bit to understand what's important to the other departments, not just finance. Yes, finance is your foot in the door to these other departments, but it is allowing you to grow and learn what's important throughout the organization and how all the pieces fit together. So when you're pulling together an annual plan, you know how all the pieces are going to fit together to come as to one number on the bottom line. The numbers are important, but it's the work behind the numbers that's important, that runs the business. I can do numbers all day long, but if there isn't any meaning behind it, it's not going to be useful to anyone in the organization. One of the steps that would be important in taking charge of your own career is to self-advocate. No one else is looking out for your career more than you are, and you need to speak up. So if you're the wallflower that doesn't speak up in meetings or doesn't go to the supervisor and say, what experiences can you give me, or where can I go to get more experience that will help me get to the next level or broaden my horizons, it won't be afforded to you because no one's going to force leadership on you. You have to go seek it. And part of seeking it is, like I said, broadening your experiences. So if there's a project that is not in your specific technical expertise, have that curiosity factor, go scout it out, go work on that project even though you know nothing about it, but it's a learning opportunity. Always be curious, always learn, but also to take risk. Don't feel like you have to master something before you try it. Just try it. And if you fail, learn from it and try it again or try something different. But don't be afraid to put yourself out there on the limb and feel uncomfortable sometimes. You will feel uncomfortable, but that's where growth comes from. Another thing that I try to instill in my team as well as my kids is speak up. If you're in a meeting or you're in a discussion and you have an idea, express that idea. Because 9 times out of 10, the person next to you might be thinking the same thing, and if they're the ones that speak up, it becomes their idea, not yours. And you would have thought, oh, how many times have I thought, oh, I should have said that. I had that idea, I didn't say it. So say it. Even if you think you could be wrong, again, it's back to that risk. Take risk, say it. Express your opinions. Don't be afraid to challenge. Speak up. Because sitting in the back of the room isn't going to get you noticed. Education is the most important thing I could give my kids or give advice to anybody that works for me. You can never take away someone's education. So it's something that stays with you your whole life, you will have. So learn and grow through that and through experiences. Avery has always been very progressive with being flexible with our workforce. I was one of the first employees in the entire corporation to work flex time and come in early and leave early, which enabled me to do a lot of things with my family that I wouldn't normally have been able to do. T-ball is important, and karate and dance. But it's up to the organization for employee retention to provide that flexibility, and Avery has been just wonderful, enabling all of us to take time off and be flexible with our time, whether it's paid time off, the vacation time, or if it's just flex time where you come in a little bit later, you work a little bit later, or you're checking in from home and keeping up on emails. That flexibility is there, and Avery has been just invaluable to me. I wouldn't have been able to raise 3 kids to adulthood anywhere else. I mean, I can't say enough about how Avery has helped me do that. Avery is a great place to work. We have a lot of great people that work together as a team, but mostly what has kept me here the 28 plus years I've been with the company are the people. It's the experiences, yes, and it's the career, yes, and the paycheck, yes. But at the end of the day, what keeps me happy here are the interactions I have with the employees and the people that I get to work with every day. Not only my own team in finance, but throughout the organization. Through volunteer opportunities that we do as a company where you're interacting with other employees. It's through the holiday parties. It's through what you would consider non-work opportunities that come up that gives you license to just have fun with other employees and get to know them on a different level than just a professional level. And I think that really makes this a fun place to work, and it helps me do my job as I get to know people better on a different level. That interaction is so much easier.